go inside and now remove weight from the surface. So I'm going to go in, spray a little bit more Prepare. And because I can see inside this, can I have you lean forward a little bit? I can see inside this. I'm going to go in where I put in those layers, and I'm just going to draw a line straight down. And I'm going to go side to side. Can you see what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. What it's doing is it's cutting the tops off of those hills and leaving the valleys. So I'm texturizing, and at the same time, if I keep doing this, eventually I'll break through. And I'll create like a little round space here. And if I do that, I know that I'm working from side to side. When she lifts her head up, what you'll see is this. Okay? Right. Lean forward. So all I'm doing is creating space. You notice what's behind it is her width. I don't want to take off her width, because if I do, her hair is going to be mulletous. Right? So when she tips her head back here, I'm creating all of this movement here, but I didn't take out any of her length, because her length is still here in the front, and I didn't take out any of her strength that's at the bottom of that length, because it's clipped back. So once I take down that third section, I do the same exact thing, but now I want to see that hair free. This was already shorter, so therefore you see the weight in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go inside, and I'm just going to release some of the weight up higher. But I'm not going to do as much, because I'm not trying to create a perimeter here. And because she's already had her haircut blunt before up top, I'm going to take advantage of that and go down and lock in and just point cut some of these ends off. And again, this is called pencil carving, but I can also call this pinch carving too. Because here's a pinch, there's a carve. Pencil carving is just the handhold. Okay, so that's just her weight. So everything in her weight has been cut now. Now I can release her width. So I'm going to go from high point to division point, which is directly behind the ear. Have you turn this way? That's directly behind the ear. I'm going to over direct it forward, and all I'm going to do is link the last piece that I cut over here to her length. Because her elevation is low, I will not make her hair skinny. If I were to pull that up here, it would get skinny, and all I would leave is back here, and I'd have to trick her. Look, it's still long. I don't want to trick her. I want to make sure that she knows her hair is still long, but now it's going to have an overall shape change. When we're done, I'm going to take her downstairs. We're actually going to wet her back down. I'm going to blow this dry with a diffuser, and you're going to see a totally different change. If you follow my Instagram, AJC Salon, at AJC Salon, you will see a before and after, and you'll see a total shape change of a woman who had naturally curly hair, was pretty, but it was cut, and I could see exactly how it was cut. I could tell just by looking at it and not even going inside. Oh, sorry, sniper. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. That's bad time. So, damn it. I hate when I do that. All right. So when I take her downstairs and dry this, you're going to see all of this shape come into fruition. You're going to see exactly where I moved her weight from. So now I go into the width. I pull it down. I know where the length is, so now I'm just going to draw a line. This is what you don't see in traditional razor cutting. In traditional razor cutting, you'll see this. Right? So I'm using vertical technique. Vertical technique takes the overall length, and I just draw a line. Same exact thing, just draw a line. Her length is still there. Now I can move to the opposite side. I'm going to drop her width, but I'm only gonna drop the width in the front because I cut the front is the front, the back is the back, the left is the left, the right is the right, the length is the length, the width is the width, the weight is the weight. I can say it again. Front is the front, back is the back, side is the side.
What's your Instagram again?
What's my Instagram? AJC Salon. All right, so I see my overall length. I see my guide here in the front, and all I do is draw a line. I'm just gonna lock in and draw a line straight down, and just take off what's needed. If I over direct this or if I elevate it, guess what? It gets skinnier and skinnier. I wanted to do that here. I wanted to layer this because I wanted that to get skinnier. I wanted to move in that direction, so therefore I over directed this way. Here, all my direction is straight down. If my direction is straight down, I know that I'm going to keep as much strength in this front as possible. Check for balance. Now I can drop her overall width. Now, she told me that she wanted to keep her length, and I'm fine with that, but what I see is a buildup of weight right there. So what I have to do is I either have to raise this up so that it falls in up here, or I have to collapse it so it goes down. So I either have to choose to graduate it by putting my layers on the underneath, or I have to choose to put them on the surface and work my way down. And all of this I'm doing by using architecture, by looking at the hair and saying, what is it that I need to do? Do you like full hair? Great, I have so do I.
Texas. Good to know that.
Yes.
Texas.
You're not from Texas?
No.
Where are you from?
Outside Twin Cities, Minnesota.
Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul? Yeah,
Still one.
awesome. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use gravity once again. And I'm gonna have her lean forward, but I'm gonna pay attention to where I'm at. I wanna stay away from her length again, so I'm gonna have you lean forward, bow a little bit more, say Jason is the master. I do that to my guests too, they get a kick out of it. And they have to send me royalties. All right, so now I know that if I work in her width and I save her length, I still know that I've not touched her length. This is why I do this upside down like this, because I'm taking advantage of what I know in architecture. It's using elevation, because I'm gonna cut underneath this hair. There's where the bluntness is, you see that? Now, you can't see that when you're trying to hold the hair up and you're combing it, because all the rest of this gets in the way. So I know that her length is no longer being touched. I can cut all of this here and never touch that length, and she's always gonna be happy with me, as long as I'm not cutting off that corner, because that corner is attached right over the ear. So it's understanding body position. So if I go in, you know what? Because I've used the chopstick already, I'm gonna switch to my carving comb. I'm gonna use the carving comb, and I'm gonna use the channel carve side of the carving comb, and I'm gonna go in, and I'm just gonna reduce some of this weight by going inside and removing it from there. Same exact thing, removing it from there. Very lightly, I'm not taking out 50% of it because I didn't push all the way through. I go all the way until I reach the occipital. So I only come to right over her ear, but I don't pick up any of this because that's her length. Perfect. You guys are awesome. My first class was stupid. I'm just joking. I'm joking. So I used to teach in a beauty school, but I was the only active hairdresser that taught in that beauty school. So my students used to say, Mr. Clemens, we only learn from you. And I'm like, I feel sorry because I'm only here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But the reality of it is I was actually teaching techniques, and the other instructors were teaching stuff out of the book, and you have to know that stuff. But the reality of our business is that I felt like I was getting smarter, and when my students are getting dumber, and they really weren't. They were just, I was getting new students every 6 months or so, and I was like, you don't get this? And they look at me like a deer in the headlights. They're like, what do you mean elevation? I'm like, what do you mean, elevation? But I think we have to ground ourselves every once in a while, and I can't assume that I come in here and go, what's the back of the hair, guys? What's the length, guys? I can't assume that everyone in here understands my language. My language is hair. It's really not, just a technique, because everyone doesn't know the same techniques. Okay, so I'm just reducing that, just by skimming over the surface, making sure that I'm not taking too much. Okay, now I'm going to do my chopstick one more time. I'm just going to reduce a little bit more of this bowl. Can I have you stay down like that and shake it out a little bit for me? Yeah, don't fall over. Feels good? Good.
Yeah.
Looks good. Shake it more. Okay, so I'm going to take advantage of what I can see down here, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to break through. This is pencil card. So all I did is I broke through and I gave her a little fringe. So now, I'm going to have you toss it back. Don't fall over. Shake it out. Now she's texting. You're texting still. So now you can start to see that weight removal in the right areas. So now when I take her downstairs and I style her hair, you're going to see all of that expansion take place in the right position. Again, if you look at my Instagram later on today, I'll actually put a before and after up. I don't retouch any of my photographs. They're all straight before, straight after, no filters, because I want people to see reality. Anytime I teach a class, it's all about, if you see me do it, it's real. If I make a mistake, you can see it. If I don't make a mistake, you can clap, you can like, you can love. But the reality is I'm going to put her downstairs and I'm going to style this and really show her exactly how to style her hair using gravity. I'm going to toss her over to one side.